Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Yanks of the Cop. Tonight it's going to be me and the lovely Sophie. Steve and Andrew can't make it tonight, but Andrew may join us later, but he may not be able to. So tonight we're doing a special tonight. We're going to be doing our top 10 worst FSG signings. So it's going to be cause a lot of debate tonight. So me and Sophie just talking about before how it was hard to put our list together. Sophie, how did you find put your list together?
You know what? When you were texting and you were like, "Oh, it's dead difficult," I was like, "Nah, it's gonna be dead easy to pick like your top 10 like worst signings over the past decade." I was like, "Oh, dead easy." And then I got me top 3, like my worst 3. I knew who they were, and I knew who like me, like 10, 9, and 8 were. And then the middle bit, like I was going, "No, they need to move." And then I got my list ready, and I went, "Right, that's fine." No, actually, no, he was worse than him. No, he was better than him. It was really difficult to decide where they rank because some of them are just awful.
But there's a lot of them as well.
Oh God, it was actually really quite difficult to pick the 10 in the end because I was going, "Oh shit, I never thought about him." Well, why not? It was really hard.
Well, I'll say to everyone watching, please put in your list as we're going along of who your top 10 is, and we'll see if you agree with us and if you disagree with us. So we'll be interested to hear yours. And also, like, some people are wondering, like, as well, like, because obviously when I was looking through this, I was looking at all the signings that FSG made. There's a lot of them, like from Samuel Yesil. I didn't include any loan players because I didn't think we signed them, so I didn't include the loan players. I only included our permanent signings.
Yeah, I didn't include any loan players who got on loan or any players that didn't play for the senior team.
Yeah,
anyone under 23s and that I didn't include. But I actually had Yesil on my list earlier, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I ended up having to take him off.
He was terrible, though. He was terrible.
But everywhere I put him in my list, there was always someone who was a little bit worse for me. But he was awful.
God. There's a Thiago Laurie. But
yeah.
The weird thing was
don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
The weird thing is that some of these players, though, some of them actually left Liverpool and actually went on to have good careers.
Yeah,
which is weird.
It's a lot of the time it's just about whether you're right for the club or whether the club fits you. Or a lot of them on my list came from clubs doing really well, having a lot of goals, and then came to us and did nothing. Yes. And just owned out. And I think you know who I mean.
Did you include any current players?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I would just know who you include. Okay.
I think we've used, honestly, I bet you we've used the same player.
Okay, interesting.
Right, go on.
Right, so let's go down. Who's your 10th?
Alexander Dory from 2011 signing, the goalkeeper.
Who?
Alexander Dory, we signed him from AS
Donny.
Roma.
Oh, yeah, Donny, I remember. Yeah, Donny. Oh, yeah. The Brazilian guy. Yeah.
Awful. He had how many appearances? He had 4 appearances over the entire thing. And his first game, he got a red card and sent off after he was covering for Pepe Reina. And I was just like, oh, he was awful.
God, I'm joking. Did he even play in the games for us?
Yeah, he played like four games. That was it. That's all he did in the entire time he was there. And half the time he wasn't even on the bench anymore. Like he was barely in the squad. It was a waste of the time even signing him, even though he was free. He was awful. It was worse than Adrian. It was terrible. Who's your 10th?
My 10th is Adrian.
Oh!
The reason I had on the list is because I'll never forget him for costing us the Champions League. And although, he did contribute to us doing well in the league, and the reason why I made the list is purely because of I just felt he just wasn't good enough, and the too many times he just made too many errors, and I just thought it's just not good enough. Really isn't good enough. I just feel like he's one of those players that that really
started off really well.
Yeah, it annoys you because the games we think, okay, yeah, he did well, and then he makes these howling mistakes that cost us too many times. So that's why he made my list. It was tough because there are a lot of other players, but I thought Adrian has to be on the list because he cost us Champions League, and I never forgive him for that.
I didn't put him on my list because of the 11 games that we did really well for us, and obviously with the Super. Was it the Super? Oh my god, I've gone mind blank. What's it called when you win the Europa?
Super League. Super League
Thank
Cup.
you. Oh my god, I really couldn't remember that. And yes, Stoney did get sent off at Blackburn. Yeah, within 15 minutes of the game coming on. Yeah, he did.
I know, Chris. Chris, I know. Yes, he did play well for those games, and obviously helped us. It's just that can't forgive him because of the Champions League like that. You know, like we were in that, we would have been in the final, and possibly with a good chance of beating Bayern Munich in that final with the team we had last season. That's 2 years ago. No, last season. It wasn't for Adrian.
I wouldn't say though in the last 10 years, like since FSG has been, I wouldn't say in the last decade he's one of the worst because he did do something positive. He wouldn't have made. There's a lot worse. There's a lot. It's going to be a long night.
Who's your number 9?
Laurie.
Tiago Laurie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you have on your list?
What?
Why did he make your list?
Oh, why didn't he make my list? Right, I actually had to write them down because of how shit. Signed him in 2013, 13-14 season. He made 3 squad appearances. January 2014, he was loaned out to Granada. 14-15, he was then loaned out to Bordeaux. Then he returned to us in 2016 and made 3 appearances and then was pushed into the under-23s. He wasn't even deemed good enough to go on loan anymore. And he wasn't deemed good enough to even be a squad player. So he ended up getting pushed to the under-23s because he had nothing else to do. That is a waste. I know he's only 3.5 million, but fuck me, he was awful. What a waste of money. He drove me insane. It was literally just a case of why?
What?
Why sign him? Just to constantly put him out on loan. Go on.
He's at Leighton Orient. Orient now.
I don't care where he is now. He was shit.
Yeah, because he went to Sport in Lisbon. Just looking where he's at now. He's at where is he at? I don't know. He's at Lorient. He's a loan at in France. League One. Yeah, he's a loan. God. He was shocking. He was shocking. He wasn't good enough.
No, he wasn't.
Just make everyone, if you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't done. Just going to see some of what the chats are saying. Doug says Donny got sent off at Blackburn. Chris Welch, I think he's obviously saying Aiden's better than Karis Emilio for me. Chris Welch, never heard of Viori, the Portuguese. Ben Davies. I think Davies is a bit better than him. So. Because David was a good championship player. This is like he's not rated at Liverpool. My number 9 was Paul Konchesky because he was just shocking. One of the worst fullbacks we ever signed, and he epitomised the Hodgson era because Hodgson brought him from Fulham. I remember the game. I think we were playing Tottenham, and it was the last couple of minutes. All Paul Konchesky had to do was mark. What's his name? It was that. Aaron Lennon. What did he do with Mark Aaron Lennon? He allowed Lennon to run past him and score. And I was like, oh my God, that's all you had this one simple job. And it was shocking. Paul Konchesky, terrible footballer. And I just didn't understand how his dream came true because he hit the jackpot of playing for a big club Liverpool. Otherwise, he would never play for us ever, or a club our size. He was terrible, Paul Konchesky. Like Doug says, yeah, he was the worst left back ever at the LFC.
Well, that's debatable. I mean, he wasn't great. Like he was shocking, but we've had some terrible left backs.
And what? Maybe he was. Maybe under Roy Evans, you could probably say no. Wait, was it he?
Stop tapping your pen while you're thinking.
I was just thinking of who else is a bad left back we had.
Well, one of them's on my list later on, so we'll talk about him later.
Yeah, I think he was just shocking. Who's your number 8?
Barini.
Barini, oh God, yeah.
Hated him. Absolutely fucking hated him. Came with his first season, got injured right away. Like, he was made of fucking glass. Absolutely shocking, and then was out loaned as soon as he came back because he wasn't good enough. And in 3 seasons, he made 25 appearances, and when he did play, you wish he wasn't. He was shocking. Like he had no idea whether he was coming or going, whether the ball was in front of him, behind him, left. Like he didn't know any position and direction. He was shocking. Like 3 goals and 1 assist in the entire thing. No.
Yeah, he was the one that Roger said he's going to get the fans excited.
Yeah.
God.
I know, like Rogers came out, didn't he? But did you notice that, like, whenever I was looking at terrible signings, the ones who I've got on my list always with Brendan Rodgers, like, oh, his kick alone's worth 10 million, he's billions on the dead ball, blah 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 blah, and then he was shit.
Couldn't believe Roger said that, and I remember looking at him at Swansea thinking, am I missing something? Like, what has Barini done? I was thinking, like, he hasn't done anything. He was crap there. I was thinking, like, what? But I was looking at him and I was thinking, this guy can't play football. He's rubbish.
Like, half the time, you didn't know whether he realised he was playing football or whether he thought he was playing cricket or something else, because he had no idea what was going on around him. It was like he literally just went, I like I'm in a football stadium. Like, he had no idea any time what he was doing. He just didn't fit in, did he?
No, it's just trash. He wasn't good enough.
Where did he go after us?
I think he went to Sunderland. Barini.
Oh yeah, I think Doug's put it in. Went on to play it right back at AC Milan. Fucking hell.
Yeah, he was tragic footballer. You know.
Yeah. It was yours.
Yeah, he was my number 8 as well. So yeah.
Ooh.
Just terrible. Just going on. Julian says, was Barini worse than Markovic for you?
No.
I think Markovic is unlucky because he was injured a lot, but he was terrible. I think he was injured, but yeah, we'll get to Markovic because he did make my list. We'll get to him.
We'll get to Markovic.
Who was your number 7?
Keita.
Keita.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's contentious.
You know what? Can you blame me for putting him on the list? Like, come on, we paid 52 million, maybe 53 million for him, and he's done fuck all. Like, I know he's been plagued by injuries, but even when he comes on the pitch, I don't even see what he's doing. Like, he makes no impact on midfield whatsoever. And every time he comes on, I just kind of go, oh, why? Like, he just fit the sign and doesn't wear. And he's the prime example, isn't he, of a player who we looked at in another league who did really, really well and then come to us and flopped. And he's just a terrible sign. And like, I don't like Keita anymore. I'm done with him. I'm gonna get so much hate now. I'm gonna get my mates texting me going, "You fucking hate you," slagging on Keita. Can't stand him.
I can see why I can see why he made your list. I didn't put him on my list, but I can see why he made it. Because if we're honest, he has been a complete flop.
Yeah,
and I remember obviously when the summer before we signed him, and I was so excited. I was like looking at Twitter every half an hour to see have we signed Keita? Have we signed Keita? Because of how much I wanted him. Because I thought like this guy is going to be dynamite in England. And I really thought he was built for the Premiership because he was strong, he could dribble, he was excellent press, and I thought, oh, this guy's gonna, I remember I used to say like, the league ain't ready for Naby. They're not ready for him. And then the whole year having to wait for him, I was still excited thinking, look, when we get him, a year's gonna be worth it. Yeah, he has been a complete flop, disappointment. So I can see why. So it is I can see why he's on your list.
I just like Naby, like you said, we had such high expectations of Naby. We knew what he was capable of, and he's just been, like you said, a complete and utter flop. And I can't see how anyone can justify that as a good signing. Like, he has a good 20 minutes here, there, and everywhere. But for 53 million, I want a player who can do a lot of fuck ton more. Like, let's put it this way, Alisson cost us, 65, 67 mil.
Yeah.
You're looking at roughly about 12 to 15 million more we paid for Alisson. And the difference, like, it's not that much of a difference in price in footballing terms. But we've got a lot more for Alisson than we have for Naby Keita, and I feel like we've paid less for Diogo Jota, and Diogo Jota's already done more, and he's been injured for 3 months than Naby Keita's done in 2 seasons, 3 seasons.
I think that's the issue with Keita. He's never had any clutch moments, because obviously people often say, well, Ox is injured. But this Ox, he had clutch moments where you can think, yeah, Ox was amazing in that Champions League 17-18. Like, he's had good moments, really good moments. He was no Ox. But with Keita, I can't really think of, like, maybe the Chelsea goal he scored in the towards the end of lockdown.
But is it really
Leicester game?
But
last year we won 4-0.
Like, is that a goal that you're going to really remember for a long, long time, or is it one of those goals that you're going to go, oh yeah, I forgot about that? Like, I don't know with Naby anymore. I think with Ox, like you said, he had a big impact when we first signed him until he got his ACL. Before that, if he hadn't been injured with his ACL, it'd been absolutely fantastic with Ox. He'd just gone higher and higher for me personally. I really liked him. But I genuinely think Naby never had any platform to go off. He just came in as a flop to begin with and has continued just draining money from Liverpool, for me anyway.
Yeah, he's a tragic player, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Before I get to my one, just going to read some of the comments. Chris Welch says Barini and Marcus are bad at each other. FSG out says Aspas, Aquilani, Balotelli, Christian Benteke, a few bad players. I don't think Aquilani was a little FSG signing. No, he wasn't. I don't think he was a FSG signing, Aquilani, no. So that's why he doesn't make the list.
If we had to do like Liverpool fail and sign forever, we'd never have to narrow it down.
I'll definitely get it. 1892 podcast says, we had a lot of bad players. You know that, mate. Haha. Luke on comments. Good to see you, mate, Luke. Mine is still Adam Bogdan. Forgot about him. He was just tragic. Terrible goalkeeper. Or an awful sign of FSG. Bloody meerkat and goal. Gives everything a chance. Yeah, he was awful, Bogdan. Doug says, Adam Bogdan on my days considered straight from a corner Exeter City. God. FSG out again says Andy Carroll, Bruno Charoux, Diomede, and some of these players don't play for when under FSG. That's why they're not on our list. Chris Wells says Adam Bogdan stopped my local town Carlisle's knocking Liverpool out of the Third League Cup and penalty for a legend. Of course, being sarcastic. FSG out says Pegar Pexford. Worst keep we had, yeah, but this is the worst FSG signings, not worst Liverpool signings ever. Doug says Chris Welsh, we signed Bogdan because he was fab for us versus us at the Rebook, where he was at Bolton. Julian Radcliffe, we've had too many midfields. We are too injury prone. Naby, Ox, Shaqiri to a certain extent. Yeah, they all need to go for me. And then Chris Welsh says 2-1 Leicester. We are done. Yeah, we'll leave top four for the time being tonight because we don't want to get into that.
A bit of fun for once.
Yeah, tonight's is just a bit of fun.
I'm going to go to the 1892 podcast.
FSG says, sorry, you didn't come in. Yeah, no problem, mate. No need to apologise. It's just top 10 worst FSG signings. So my seventh was Paulson. Again, Paulson.
Oh God, yeah.
Again, he epitomized Roy Hodgson. Epitomized Roy Hodgson because Hodgson wanted him big time at Liverpool.
Yeah.
And he was terrible. He was a shocking footballer. I didn't understand why we signed him. And I was like, we aren't Fulham. He's trying us into Fulham, these signings. I said, why are we signing Paulson for?
Dodgy.
He couldn't play. It was awful. Stupid blonde locks, the stupid little headband he wore. Like, it was rubbish.
That stupid little headband made all the difference to his ability, didn't it? Maybe if he didn't wear the headband with home, you'd have liked him a little bit more.
It was rubbish. I just didn't understand how. Like, I forgot. I also forgot Jano. Well, he's not going to make my list, but I forgot Janovich as well. God, he was rubbish too. God, Just thinking about other players
You know
that.
what, we could be here forever if we just kept going on about who was rubbish. Like we had to like narrow it down somehow.
God, but I just remember. I was just thinking about when I just started Paulson. I just remember the other signings that he bought us. God, yeah, Paulson was shocking, but he was my 7th. Who was your 6th?
Benteke.
Oh, Benteke.
And I saw someone in the chat earlier and was like, don't say nothing about my Benteke because he's got the overhead kick against United. But you can't just use one good goal and say that made it a good signing. Because Benteke, oh my God, I had such high hopes of Benteke, you know, when we signed him. Like, I really did, because he did so well at Villa in his first season. He was like an absolute machine. And I was like, that's just what we need. We need him. We need a player like Benteke. And then he came in and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, what? You know, it was like I was promised like an Armani version and I got like an Aldi version in the end. Like, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I paid for. I didn't sign up for that. But, oh, I hated him so much. Like, oh.
Yeah, I can see why you have Benteke. The reason why I thought Benteke was always going to be a flop is purely because Carroll's a flop, and I knew if Carroll's a flop at Liverpool, Benteke is, because we don't play the way that Benteke plays.
Yeah, but I think like everyone kind of looked at Benteke and looked at how he played, you know, for his other clubs, and like especially with his first season at Villa, you know, he got 23 goals. That was amazing. That was exactly what we wanted, and we thought, bloody hell, he's going to make a massive impact to our team at that time. And then when I watched him playing, I was just thinking, oh my God, he can't cope with that at counter-attack. He can't keep up. He can't do the speed. Like, he worked in a low block team. He's not working in this. He can't do it. And then after a while, what pissed me off more was when he realised himself that he couldn't keep up with the way we play football. He just stopped caring. And it was like he basically just walked on the pitch, walked around for 90 minutes and walked off. And I just never understood how he could go from being like the player that he was, that we signed, to this player. And I remember being dead devastated, and I was like, I really like Benteke. I thought he was going to be great. And then he like fucked me. Like, I used to sit there and argue with my dad. My dad didn't like Benteke. And I was like, no, he'll be dead good, he'll be dead good. And then I sat there going, oh my God, he's never going to let me live this down. Like, because I proper argued that he was going to be great for us. I was fuming.
I thought Benteke was amazing at Villa. He did have a lot of goals at Villa. And I remember the plenty of times when he played Villa and he destroyed Lovren or Skirtle. They just couldn't handle him.
Yeah.
But when I saw him we signed him for like 30 million. I was like, why is buying Benteke? Because he might as well just get Andy Carroll, because he was the exact same player. And I was like, we don't play the way Benteke. We don't put crosses in the box, and you know, we don't play the way he's going to play. So it just, I knew it was doomed to fail from the start.
He was that type of player that even though we know he didn't put direct crosses in the box and all that, the way he played gave the illusion that he would be able to adapt, because he gave up such high intensity vibes. You know, you said yourself, like, he absolutely destroyed us when we played him. He gave off such an impression that he was so good he'd be able to pick up these other skills and become what we wanted, and we'd be able to develop him further. And then he just came and was like, no. No, I'm fuming. I'm still not over it. I'm still not accepted it. I'm fuming.
Yeah, I think my one was Andy Carroll, because I hate Andy Carroll. I didn't like him at Newcastle when he was there. I remember at the time arguing with an Arsenal friend of mine who was like, "Oh, Andy Carroll's really good," and I was like, "No, he's looking good in a Newcastle team, but he's not good enough." And when I saw we bought him for 50 million, I was like, this reeks of desperation, because Torres is gone at the time.
He was 35.
35, yeah. Because Torres is gone at the time. I thought this is reeks of desperation. Last minute transfer, we're buying Andy Carroll. He was never fit at Newcastle. He joined Liverpool, was never fit at Liverpool majority of the time, and he just couldn't run. He just didn't fit. We played counter-attacking football a lot of times, or like on the break, and you'd see Carroll jogging at the halfway line still trying to catch up. Like, it's like he just didn't suit our style of football. And I was like, why are we buying Andy Carroll for? And then all he did was just steal living from us, because he was injured 90% of the time. You know, and people go on about that FA Cup game where he scored that goal against Chelsea, but he also missed a sit in that game.
Yeah.
You know, where you
can't just look at that one goal against Chelsea in the FA Cup, because you've got to take the main point that we play football for is the league. that's what we play football for. And when you watch his performances in the league, like you said yourself, he'd be like hovering around the halfway line. You're like, what the fuck are you doing over there? Like, the players would be like defending a corner and he'd be stood by the linesman on the other end of the pitch having a gab and a cup of tea. Like, what the fuck are you doing, you daft twat? He angered me. He was so lazy and he spent more time. Like, we paid 35 million and like hospital bills and bonuses for him. Like, I feel like we spent more in his hospital fees because of his injuries all the time, little tiny things all the time, that I felt like we ended up paying his fee twice. Done me head in.
He was at least over 100 grand, Carroll.
He was pathetic.
Like, yeah, he was a lot of money. Because even at Newcastle, when he went back to when he's back now at Newcastle, he's still on like well over 100 grand there. And he never plays. He just wasn't like, he was a pub player. You know, he's one of those Sun League players that didn't really care about football. Was more concerned with getting pissed in the weekend.
Yeah.
And being one of the jacket lads.
Yeah. He was more concerned about his social image than he was his actual, like, his performance on the pitch. Like, he was an ass if he put a stinking of a performance in on the Saturday. He just wanted to be caught by the paparazzi on the Sunday, coming out of the club at 3 in the morning. That's what he cared about. He wasn't bothered.
Yeah, and that's why that's nothing that really annoyed me about him.
Well, did you see that thing a couple of years ago? He finished a game. It was West Ham. And then he drove in his training kit to his sister-in-law's wedding or something. And he stood at the wedding in his training kit post-match. And I was like, you've done that. Just be like, oh, look at me. I've come straight from football to this wedding. Go and get changed. You are on so much fucking money and you can't put a suit on. Like, that's just the epitome of anti-fucking Carroll, isn't it? With the bloody man bun.
Yeah. God.
I hated them.
I
hate everybody on these lists. I hate them all.
I threw a sentiment. Let's see some of the chat. Doug says Christian Paulson, oh my god, he was shit. Yeah, he was. Julian Ratcliffe says that was a transfer window for Paulson, Joe Cole, Jovanovic, and Kucheski. I remember as well. I was so excited we got Joe Cole because I was thinking, oh my god, if he's anything like it was at Chelsea. I remember that. I think it was we signed him the year after, no, 2 years after he'd won Player of the Year. I thought, we beat so many teams. Arsenal, Spurs were all after Joe Cole on a free transfer. We beat him, paid 100 grand sign-on fee for him, and I was so excited. He was a flop.
A lot of our signings between like 2011 and 2015 are like really fucking dubious signings, aren't they? Like, it was very difficult to pick just a couple from those 4 years because they just kind of went. It was like they put the hands in a hat of names and went, yep, you'll do, yep, you'll do, yep, you'll do. Oh, it was shocking.
Yeah.
Doug there, Michael Edwards is a fucking genius for getting 32.5 million for Benton.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Michael Edwards would, like, he'd be able to sign anybody for a packet of quavers and a 50p IOU. Like, he's a friggin' genius, honest to God.
Yeah. FSG, it's fair to say we have a lot of crap players. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a sad indictment of it. FSG says when we signed Balotelli, yeah, God, we'll get on to Balotelli.
Get on to Balotelli.
I was at Joe Cole's debut one-on-one versus Arsenal. He was sent off. Yeah, Joe Cole was shocked at Liverpool. Like, the less said about him, the better, because he didn't care at Liverpool. You know, that's the thing. He was when we got rid of him, it was like a great day because he was shocking. So, who was your number 5th?
Moreno. Yeah, Moreno. I know he only cost us 12 million, but holy fuck, like, come on, he was the left back that was meant to come in and completely change our team. Like, he was an example of another player who really hit a peak before us, who we thought was going to do an amazing job. And can we just talk about the Europa League final, please? The second half. Can we just take a minute to talk about what the fuck he did? We collapsed that second half because he didn't know where the fuck he was going. Like, his direction and positioning was it was like he just turned off a switch and forgot what he was doing. He didn't know if he was a left back, a midfielder, or a left winger. He didn't know his arse from his elbow. And for someone who came in with so much, like, glowing references behind him, everyone was up his arse about it. And then the minute Joe Gomez comes in, who wasn't even a fucking left back, he got pushed out by Joe Gomez. Then he got pushed out by Milner until Robbo came. And then he just kind of clung on to the team. Somehow managed to get himself a Champions League medal and then left us at the end. And it's like, you did fuck all. You cost us so many wins, so many points were dropped because of him. Like, he'd come on and you go, oh, why? Like, you'd start a game and you'd be doing really well, and then, like, you get, like, 60-minute substitution, Alberto Moreno, and you know, just kind of go, oh, fuck, we've lost. Because you knew he was going to come on and he was just going to take a nosedive in that entire game. And I was made up when he left, because he was just like this little clinger on, like that, that annoying little brother that you can't get away with. When you're with your mates and you got like an annoying little sibling who just sits there going, I want to do it, He was like that. And you're just like, go away. Just go away. And you just couldn't get rid of him. And I was made up when he went because he was absolutely useless. He didn't know his arse from his elbow. He didn't know what day of the week it was. He didn't know if it was day or night. Bless him, did he? Like, the lights were on, but no one was home. Like, he had no idea.
The funny thing was him. I remember on his, I think it was his debut, he scored that wicked goal against Spurs. We ran the whole length of the pitch.
But he fucked up the game before that. The game, his first game, he fucked up massively. And then he kind of like redeemed himself with the game against Spurs. And then everyone kind of was like, oh, let's forget about that first game, where he fucked up. That was a sign of things to come. We all should have looked at that first game and gone, oh, fuck.
Car crash.
He scored that amazing goal. And everyone was kind of like, oh, yeah, all right, like, let's forgive him. No.
Car crash. Yeah, he was the one player that, like, the tactic could be, look, don't allow crosses in the box. Don't allow crosses. And he'll stand. What he used to know me, he used to do that thing where he put his hand behind his back and jump. And it's like, what are you doing? He was one of the. He's probably better. Worse than.
That's what pissed me off more. He wasn't good in the air. Everyone knew his aerial skills were shit. And every time a cross came in, or every time there was a ball in the air, he thought he was like 6 foot fucking 7. He thought he was like 7 foot Peter Crouch. No, mate, you're like a flying squirrel. Fuck off. You can't get your head to it. You're going to miss it. You're going to floof it. You're either going to send it over the fucking crossbar or you're going to send it into our own goal. So stop. Just stop it. Ugh.
Yeah, he was tragic, Moreno.
He was your 5.
My 5 with Karius.
Oh, no.
Karius was, for me, shit.
No.
And
I don't agree.
He just wasn't good enough. Like, the Champions League put to me, I don't care about wherever it was. He made so many errors. Even for the Champions final, he made so many errors. And then I think it was in the pre-seasons as well, after the Champions League. We played a pre-season friendly. He made the exact same error again. He wasn't good enough. He wasn't here mentally. And I just know I'd never liked Karius.
Like, don't get me wrong. I don't like Loris Karius. I don't think he was good enough for Liverpool. But I think it was like Mignolet. When Mignolet always played, I just go, oh, fucking smoke hands. Like, he was like a golden retriever. He had no idea what he was doing. And Karius was the same. He was one of those players that you just kind of went, oh, he's not good enough. But for me, I feel like he was just thrown in the deep end. I feel like he was a baby who hadn't quite got where he should have been. I feel like he was pushing the deep end a lot. And he was shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending him. He was shit. And he made really stupid mistakes. And I didn't like him. But I find it really hard to not like him, if that makes sense.
Too busy shagging all the birds, that's why. apparently all the women loved him. That's what they said. They used to have like accused women in Germany loving him because his model looks.
I found it really hard. Like, I thought he was such a nice, like, likable guy. Like, I didn't, not like in that sense. I didn't fancy him or not because I don't like blonde lads. But
you don't like blonde lads, you're blonde.
I don't like blonde lads, no. But I feel like I don't know. I just don't think like out of everyone on, like, you could have had on the list of 10 I don't think Loris Karius is one of the worst.
I'll never forgive for the Champions League cost. I'll never forgive for that. Criminal. We could have
never
been.
Forgive him for fucking rolling the ball right out to them. I'll never forgive him for that. What the fuck was he thinking when he did that? Like, and then I understand he had a concussion, but if you've got a concussion as a player and you're that bad, he should have fucking come off. He shouldn't have stayed on because he made it worse.
The less Karras say about Karras, the better.
Yeah.
It just annoys me. Just annoys me when I think about that Champions League final still. Let's see some of the comments. I think Doug's talking about Marine. How did he start over Andy Robertson after that period? Yeah, that was crazy when he was keeping Robertson out of the team. Sturridge even. I don't think Sturridge makes it, Doug, because Sturridge was just injured. He was, otherwise he was still arguably one of the most clinical strikers we've ever had. In terms of
a really good player.
Yeah.
And he was really loved by the fans as well. Like, we absolutely adored him. I think it was just a case of he got to a certain point in his career where his body couldn't keep up with the physicality anymore, and it just broke him down. Like, I don't think that's not his fault. And people are probably going to slate me and be like, "Oh, well, you said Naby Keita's always injured, blah, blah, blah." But the thing is, Sturridge had a really good career up until his injuries, and they impacted his career from there on out. But I think with going back to Naby Keita quickly, Naby Keita never had that good start. He never had that, that platform to then build where you can kind of go, well, this is what he was, and then he got injured. It's just because you're always fucking injured.
He was the fastest to get to 50 goals for us. I think he was the fastest to get to 50 goals for a striker for Liverpool, 50 or 100 or something like that. Like, he was faster than Torres, Suarez, Owen, Fowler, all of them. His injury, like you said, his problem was his injuries. I'll never forget that UEFA Cup goal he did. That should have won a final.
Yeah. I just loved it, and I loved it when he used to do his dance at the end.
Him and Suarez was a dream. That Suarez, Sterling, Suarez.
He was so quick as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand anybody saying that Sturridge would be in the top 10 worst signings for FSG, because he was so quick, he was so clinical, and he was a proper team player as well. Above all else, like, what more could you want? Like, apart from his injuries. Like, if I had anything, I would have taken away Sturridge's injuries and given him like a full career, because I think he would have been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think
we still have him now.
Yeah, we would definitely, because the thing with Sturridge I liked about him was a big match player. He always turned up in the big games, whoever it is, home or away, he'd turn up. But yeah, it's sad injuries. Julian Radcliffe says Sebastian Coates. Yeah, he was another. He lived off that one overhead kick that everyone hypes him up for. He wasn't good enough. FSG says James Milner. I don't see why we'd have James Milner on there. Even when he was at Man City, he was phenomenal at Man City. He was like, Man City didn't want Milner to go when we got him.
The rest of his comments says he was proven wrong. He thought.
Yeah, but I mean, like, for him to initially thought Milner when he heard Milner, like, Milner was really good at Man City. So okay.
Career.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at, like, in terms of big star signings, you would never put Milner in that bracket. He'd never be someone that you'd sit there and, like, track planes for. He'd never be the one where, like Thiago, where we'd sit underneath LFC. Like, you get people sitting under LFC's comments going, sign Thiago, sign Thiago. You'd never get them saying, sign James Milner, sign James Milner. But even when we signed him, it was never a case of, oh, why have we done that? It made sense. Like, Milner always made sense to me.
Yeah, my mom regrets Milner. We never had him in his prime, because I think he would have been wicked, because he was, like, really good at scoring goals, tackle, assisting. That's the one downside. We never had him at prime.
But I just kind of think, when Milner was in his prime, would he have been like that in our team that we had at the time?
Well, our team at the time was, when Milner's prime, he was around the time when Alonso Mascherano was there. His prime, because he's around that Man City time.
Would he have fit
would you got the team?
It was our team. What year was it? 2008.
I think he probably wouldn't have gone on our team, but he would be a great utility player. Because he was playing there at the time. Because when we beat Man City 3-2, and Torres outscored the last minute, I think Milner played then. So I think he potentially was around then.
About 2009-ish, 2008-2009. What's your now? Lucas Leiva, Dabby Alonso, Gerrard. Oh yeah, but then again, would he have got into that team?
No, he would have got on our team. He would have been a great sword player.
But I didn't think at his prime, he wouldn't have come to us, not to sit on a bench.
Nah. But he would have been a really good squad player, I reckon.
Yeah.
Doug says Sturridge was one of the players you really like when fit. Yeah. Gurav says Sophie forgave him, I guess.
No, I didn't forgive him. I just meant to hate him.
Doug says Karras looks like someone who came out of Baywatch. Yeah, he did. He's more of a modern footballer. Grandet says Eho reduces to top. Yeah, we're doing top FSG signings, not worst Liverpool signings ever. So if you come late, that's what we're doing. FSG out says I blame Klopp for Karras. He should never have been a Liverpool player. Dugout says no, Moreno did Sturridge the celebration well. God, that was the only thing Moreno did when he did that lame effort. Grandet Sturridge.
You wanted to smack him, didn't you? It's like someone trying to do the Carlton dance. That's not Carlton. Like, what are you doing? Stop it.
All he did was this.
Like that. And I felt like going up to him again, his hand and just go, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it!
Gannett says 13-14 Sturridge is a different player. Yeah, he was. Doug says Suarez and Sturridge was a different gravy. Yeah, they were a great pair. Gannett started Jal lift off the 2-2 World Cup performance. Yeah, he was a terrible signing. I don't understand why we ever signed him. Gandhi Porkoncheski, Gandhi Akulani. Akulani wasn't signed under FSG, so that's why. Hey guys, I got
says, hey guys, alone.
Hey guys, I got late today. What did I miss? Well, we're just doing our top 10 worst FSG signings if it does come late. Gandhi says Clavan. I don't think Clavan was that bad.
No, I don't think he gets a bad rep.
Yeah, he was actually decent to me, so I wouldn't put him down here. Anyway, guys, as well, make sure you smash the like and subscribe button. So we appreciate it. Our next one was who's your fourth?
Andy Carroll. And when you said it before, I was like, oh, like we don't need to discuss it again for the exact same reasons. But I just really hated him. I really, really hated him. Didn't like him when we signed him. Didn't make sense to me. He's got that face that you just want to punch. Like like I said before, he was more concerned about his social media standing and being caught in the papers than on what woman he was with and who he was doing this with and what car he was driving and what club he was drinking at than he was playing football. And what pissed me off more with Andy Carroll is he'd go off injured and he'd be like, oh, I'm too injured, I'm too sore to play, can't do this. And then you'd see him on a fucking Belton night out dancing and you'd be like, hang on a minute. You said your ankle was sore and strapped up and you could barely move, and there you are on the fucking table like a knobhead with a bit of paint gloss on your head. I didn't like him, but we talked about Andy Carroll before, so we can move on.
my number 4 was Markovic. God, like I really hated Markovic, and the reason why I didn't like Markovic is the fact that look, Chelsea had first refusal on him. There's a reason why Chelsea didn't want him. First refusal, and we still bought him. Yeah. And I hated the fact that we went off Avram Grant, who said he was the best youngster I've ever seen at his age. He was rubbish, Markovic. He was terrible. Like, you know, when I looked at him, whenever I saw him Markovic play, I didn't understand what he offered because he wasn't skillfully, he wasn't technically brilliant. He didn't have an eye for a pass. I didn't see what was so good about him. And then he spent most of the time injured as well in our team.
Or on loan.
Complete waste of time, Markovic. So he had to make my list. He was awful.
Right, let's just comment there. Who would be my best free transfer? I'm just going to take that in general, and I think Mahomey would know who my favourite free transfer of all time is. Go on, Mahomey, who is it?
Free transfer of all time, Liverpool.
Yeah. I love him. Absolutely love him. Idolise him.
Free transfer. It's got Milner, right?
Oh, Milner, yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't think of anyone else.
Think about that. I was like, come on, we've just been talking about him.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, was there any other good free transfer we had? That was really good.
Did you know what?
I think Milner's best.
I couldn't actually sit there and be like, oh, all these free transfers, because I feel like we've had quite a lot of free transfers over the years as well. But for me, the one that always stands out would definitely always be Milner, because I just think the impact he's had on this squad has been astronomical. Like, he's not like a world-class player, but he's like a world-class, like, he's like a Liverpool legend, and you won't tell me otherwise. No one will tell me otherwise.
No, he's a top player. The reason why he's been respected at so many different clubs. But yeah, he's a top player. My one. Wait, that was your fourth, right?
Yeah.
No. That's just a free question you're asking. Sorry. Yeah. Doug says I fucking hate Andy Carroll. Yeah, no, you're not your own. Gandhi says Balotelli. Yeah, we'll get to Balotelli.
Yeah.
Drew says, "What about Davis? Why is he even at this club? I never understand why Davis at the club.
I think Davis was there just to appease people for buying a centre back, and I think it'll be a money thing, because they know that they can get more for him than the Championship will have ever got rid of him."
But what I don't get with Davis is the fact that he was a good Championship player. He was one of the best defenders in the Championship, but he can't start ahead of Reece Williams. Because there was that game where Reece Williams started against him. I don't understand it.
Let's not get about the Welsh, Zavi. Let's not.
Oh, Alan.
Oh my God, that man!
He was so
I
overhyped.
put him on my list, but he was like one of the first people I thought. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to put him on my list, because I'll go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever about why I don't like him.
I know, right? I never liked Alan Welsh and Javi. That's such a Rodgers thing to say again. Like,
it was always Rodgers, wasn't it? It was always him coming out with these amazing things that this player was going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Like, you know, this player's got 3 magic wishes and they're all going to be granted. And then the player came and you were like, what the fuck have you done? Like, I feel like every time Rodgers came out and made this big spiel about this player, you just knew, didn't you? You just went, oh, fuck. You just knew it was going to be an absolute flop when he came out with a big spiel about how great they were.
Yes. Candice says Ricky Lambert was just a sentimental signing. Yeah, he was. I never understood how Ricky Lambert. It wasn't Liverpool fan. If he wasn't Liverpool fan, that's the reason why he came to play with Liverpool. That's it, because he's a Liverpool fan. Otherwise, I didn't understand why we signed him. Oh, FSG says McAllister. He was a good free transfer.
Oh, yeah. But I'd still have to say Milner.
Yes. Forgot about him. Got McAllister, yeah. I'll never forget that free kick against Everton. He pushed the ball forward and Scott.
Yeah,
McAllister.
No, Milner still just pips him for me. No, I love Milner. Love him. Right, should we do number 3?
Yeah, number 3. Who's your number 3?
Now, my top 3 were like straight away. I knew exactly who I was putting them in, and I have not moved them. I have not budged them. Balotelli. I fucking.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I hated that man because he was such an arrogant son of a bitch, wasn't he? Like, he had a couple of good seasons, and then he went on a bit of a drought, and then he was always in the press for like the negativity. Like, he was just such a nasty person, and he had such baggage. And then, you know, when we signed him, like midway through his contract, everyone was kind of like, why are we signing Balotelli? Like, why I don't want him. He's an angry player. Like, we don't want him. Like, I don't think I knew any Liverpool fan who actually wanted Balotelli. Like, I can't remember having a conversation with anybody being like, oh my God, he's going to be so good for us. Like, everyone just kind of went, what? Why? Like, I just didn't get it. And, I mean, I know you can look at his season at City where he did really well at City, but from then on, it just went downhill. And then even, it was Raiola was his agent at the time we signed him, and he was like, this is Balotelli's last chance at big club football. If he doesn't pull his shit together, basically he's done. And I thought, that's your agent who's meant to be like promoting you as this great player and trying to get you the best deal possible, and he's saying, yeah, this is the last chance. He was awful. And 1 Premier League goal. one single Premier League goal in his entire time for us. And he was, I think he was just like a panic buy type thing to like replace Suarez. And it just didn't work. It just didn't work out. And it was his attitude. It was this, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Like, he walked around like he was the god of Anfield. Like, he owned everyone around. But, like, the team wasn't 11 players. It was 10 players and then him in the center of the universe. And he was just an arrogant son of a bitch. And then, like, if he missed the chance in a game, he'd sulk. How many times did you see him, like, absolutely fluff a shot? And he'd blame whoever crossed it to him. He'd blame anyone around him. He'd blame the blades of grass for being too tall or his boots being a little bit too tight. And then he just sulked like a petulant child on the pitch. Hated him.
Yeah. I think for me, with Balotelli, I really believe Roger could save him. Because I was one of the people that thought Rodgers, I believe the hype of Rodgers' man management, that he could save Balotelli. I thought, but if Rodgers fixed him, he'd be one hell of a player. And I fell for that, Rodgers' man manager. But yeah, he was just
nothing left to fix, was there?
No, he was gone. I was looking at some of his stats now. Balotelli, he had 1 goal in 16 games for us in the league for us, and then he had 1 goal in 2 games in the Europa League. But even that 1 goal was a penalty when he stole the penalty.
Yeah,
what tougher.
It wasn't an open play goal, and it's like, in his 14-15 season, he had 14 starts for us in a 38 game competition. He had 14 starts, and that's saying something, isn't it? Like, it was all, and it was the news that came out about, like, what he was like in the dressing room as well, and the way he spoke to people and the way he spoke to staff just didn't sit right with me at all. Like, he was disgusting. He was such a nasty piece of work, and I think the day it was confirmed that he was being loaned back out, I was kind of like, God for that. Like, I think that's the most I've celebrated a player leaving us ever, because the minute he went, it was like a sigh of relief. Like, oh my God, thank God for that. Like, I just.
Gandhi says here we were supposed to get Alexis Sanchez and we lost out to Arsenal. Got Balotelli turn out here. Yeah, that was tragic.
I wouldn't have wanted Alexis Sanchez either. I wouldn't have been happy with him because he was shite. He was shite at Arsenal, and then he was shite when he went to United. What has he done? He looked all right in the Arsenal team because the rest of the Arsenal team was shite.
God.
But Mike Heath loved him. Absolutely loved him. And I was like, why? No, like, he's not that good. He doesn't stand out for any of the right reasons. And then he went to United, and I was like, told you. He's not good.
Yeah, but yeah, Balotelli scored versus Spurs, Mr. City versus QPR. Yeah, he was awful. But my third one was Aspas, and the reason why Aspas, I'll never forgive him that free kick, that corner he did. We were challenging for the league title. He gave a corner and it went straight to the other side, the opposition. It was rubbish, Aspas, and he was supposed to be labelled as this new exciting player that we're supposed to be gassed about. That's coming to play for Liverpool.
Yeah.
He's rubbish. He just wasn't good enough, Aspas. He couldn't handle the Premiership, and it was just awful. And I'll never forget that corner kick. He's the only player I've ever seen take a corner and it goes straight out for a goal kick.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? He was Aspas was rubbish. That's why he was number 3 for me. Who was number 2 for you?
Grujic.
Great. I'm surprised there's one person that or maybe you might have later on. I'm surprised there's one person hasn't made your list. Why is Grujic on the list?
Grujic is on the list because he was, to be fair, when you look at Grujic's like track record at Liverpool, he was on loan more than he was with us. And it's not necessarily that he was a bad player, because we never really saw anything of him. And I just feel like I put him at number 2 literally because it irritated me. Like, we signed this player and then we loaned him out straight away. Like, I know clubs do that, but I genuinely, I just don't understand why you do that. Like, why sign a player and then loan them back out straight away? Why waste that money? Personally, I just don't understand why you do that. And then it's the fact that when he came back to us off loan, he played 10 minutes all season. He played 10 minutes of football. And then in the 17-18 season, he played 20 minutes of football the entire season because he was out to injury, or he was out with illness, or he was just awful. And then we loaned him out to Cardiff, then we loaned him out to Hertha Berlin, then we loaned him out to Porto, and it was just like, when are you going to just call a spade and get rid of him? When are you just kind of call it, or wipe your hands and be like, right, okay, done with him? He irritates me because it feels like he's just a drain on our expenses. And I just think if you're not going to keep a player to have them even train with you or try and develop them, what's the fucking point? It just winds me up. And it's not necessarily anything that he's done. It's just the situation in general. Just no.
Again, it's talking about Stephen Carlicott. The reason why I didn't put Carlicott down because he was alone, even though he was awful. Yeah. We're already doing permanent transfers. Stephen says, since I came in, my worst is Balotelli for sure. Added nothing to what we needed after Suarez left. Yeah, Balotelli was awful. My number 2 was Stuart Downing because he was just.
Why?
There was because he was rubbish. There's a reason why.
I want to know why.
The reason why he was at Middlesbrough for so long because he was rubbish. Because he believed his hype. The Man United were linked to him for ages. They never wanted him. He believed his hype too much. And there was that rumor that the reason why FSG bought him was because he had that video. He sent that video of himself on YouTube of taking shots from long distance. There's that rumor. I think it was true. He sent he sent them that video to buy him. He was rubbish down and he offered nothing. When he was at Liverpool, he didn't offer anything. He was rubbish. People talk about his crosses, but none of his crosses ever ended in a goal. I remember the Man City game when we played Man City in the League Cup, and he's put through 1-on-1, and it was simple chance, and he missed a sitter. He was just garbage. I'm just looking at Stuart Downing's stats for Liverpool. Where's his Liverpool stats? No, his stats. Surprise, yeah. He's 91 games. He scored. Well, that's over a couple of seasons, though. It says he scored 7 goals, 12 assists. That's over a couple of seasons. He just wasn't good enough for me, Downing. It was a big waste of money, and there was a reason why. And we only signed Downing for Carroll, and then they didn't even play well together.
True.
And yeah, he was just garbage Downing. That's why he's my number 2 because he just wasn't good enough for us.
Who's your number 1?
Number 1 was Balotelli. He's the worst player I've ever seen at Liverpool. Worst ever I've seen at Liverpool. We spoke about him. The worst player. We've really spoken that he just didn't care. He didn't train. Turned up for the first day at Liverpool when he joined the club in a Lamborghini, tinted out Lamborghini like a dickhead. What Liverpool stood for, he's the total opposite.
Yeah. And
that's why I hated him. Who's your number 1?
Markovic. I hate that. I don't even want to go into why, because I think it's pretty self-explanatory why he's number 1 for me. Because it just, for me, he was, he came and I think a lot of my list is based on the hype or the way they played before Liverpool and how they performed when they came to us. And I think Markovic is just the epitome of everything I hate about, just rushed signings where your scouting's not been done right. And I think he's a prime example of scouting not done right. He came to us, we paid 19.8 million for him, and he was a Champions League experienced player. On paper, he was everything we could have possibly wanted. And then what? Then what did he do? Tell me one thing that man did that was worthy of coming to Liverpool. Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. He did nothing. He offered nothing. He didn't challenge himself. He didn't push. And when we were trying to get him out on loans, he should have been fighting for this place. He should have been standing up and being like, no, I've got this experience. He did fuck And he never fought for his place, and he never stood up, and he never even tried. It was like he was just so happy to take the money and do anything. 3 goals, 1 assist in his entire Liverpool career. He spent more time just counting his money, doing what he wanted. Like, I couldn't bear him. And every time I saw his face, I just wanted to smack him. Because I feel genuinely like he only signed to Liverpool for the money. Because he knew he was never going to give it anything. He knew he wasn't going to do anything for the club. And he just sat back all that time, taking the money. And we couldn't fucking get rid of him. We couldn't get rid of him. We signed him in 2014. It took us till 2019 to get rid of the bastard.
Yeah.
Like, he was... I said before that Moreno was like that little Klingon that you can't get rid of. Moreno was easy to get rid of in comparison to that little fucker. At least Moreno did something or had some form of attempt, in his career at Liverpool. He at least tried at points. I mean, he was shit, but he tried. Markovic just couldn't be arsed. It was just that attitude and never tried and never bothered. And I just
he reminded me of a turd that you just couldn't flush down the toilet.
Yeah.
Back up. Every time you get rid of it, comes back up. Like, he was awful, Markovic. There's honorable mentions of players that we missed out as well, which is hard. There's Charlie Adam.
I had it. No, honest to God, where is it? I had him on my he was my first player on my list. He was my first player, and I was like, Charlie Adam. And then after I went through it a million times, I took him off, but he was on my list. He was shite.
Yes.
The missed penalty at Wigan.
God. And we signed him, what was it, because his corners? He didn't put one good corner in ever.
10 million for his corners alone. 10
didn't
million.
put one good corner in ever. Jordan Ibe.
Oh, God, yeah. I forgot about him.
Yeah, the one thing I feel sorry about Ibe, because he obviously had mental health issues. But he was rubbish, but he had mental health issues. So obviously that affected him apparently big time as little, but yeah. There's also Texera. Asadi.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be that wizard. He's rubbish. Luis Alberto, he was awful at Liverpool.
Oh my God, yeah.
Kevin Stewart, biggest waste of time ever signing ever. He didn't play for us. He was rubbish, Kevin Stewart.
He was.
Lambert, we didn't put Lambert down. Victor Moses.
Oh my God, I completely forgot. We even see, this is what happens when you make really shit signings. I'm like a mental block. I block half of them from my memory and forget we ever did it.
Yeah, he was rubbish. Alex Manninger.
Don't remember him.
He was Arsenal ex-goalkeeper who played for Arsenal like decades ago.
No.
He signed him with a big transfer. He was rubbish.
No, I don't remember him.
He was, I think, our third choice keeper for a while.
Oh, that'll be why I don't remember him then, because I never looked anywhere past the second choice keeper.
Dominic Solanke.
Oh no, I liked him.
It's rubbish. We paid undisclosed fee for him. He was rubbish.
Oh, I liked Solanke. Shut up. No, I'm not having that. I liked him. Shut up.
And there's also Janovich, who was supposed to be like this beast of a player we signed over. Someone might say Davies. Minamino.
No, don't come for Minamino. Don't pick your head in.
Otherwise, I think that's all of them. Because there was Sissoko, but I think he was alone. Sissoko left back, he was rubbish, but I think he was alone. I think that was all of them. That you've had.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I don't think there's anything else that we had.
I feel like if we'd done top 20, we'd have covered all of them between us. But it was hard to pick 10. It was really, really hard. The amount of times I moved, swapped Naby Keita and Moreno and Benteke around. So I was like, which one was worse? Which one was worse?
Let's see this chat. Juice says, what about Klein? I think Klein was actually a good player.
Why?
I wouldn't put him as a worst. He had injuries, but I think he was very solid defensively. He didn't offer anything attack, but he was solid defensively. So I personally wouldn't put Klein on a list like that.
let's not forget that when we needed, we would also have to go, can we have Klein back? Can we have Klein back? When we were in a bit of a crisis, we were like, oh, we wish we hadn't sold Klein. We wish we hadn't got rid of him. So he can't have been that bad if you're wishing you had him back. Like, we went through a centre-back crisis and not one of us said, oh, I really, really wish it had Dejan Lovren back. No one wished for him back.
Yeah. Klein wasn't as bad as he had to be. Doug says, do you remember the season under Doug Lee? She couldn't hit a down ball. I think that's Stuart Downing. He was rubbish.
Yeah.
FSG asks when King Kenny signed Hendo and said he's not for now, but for the future. I thought Kenny was smoking too much weed. I didn't think Hendo would do anything at all. Well,
you were very wrong.
Yeah, Hender's turned into one of the best players Liverpool, best captains Liverpool ever had.
Although I will hold my hands up and say that, like, 15, 16 Hendo, I was like, he's a pass-back merchant. He's never going to be anything. Like, pass-back merchant, he can't play the ball forward. What's he doing? Like, he doesn't know which way he's laced his boots up. And then I was well and truly proved wrong.
Well, I think I miss, technically, the version I miss of Henderson is the 14-13 Henderson. That Henderson was really good. In terms of box to box, he's very, very good.
Do you not feel that, like, when he went to, like, 15, 16, he suddenly started, like, playing backwards a lot more, like, sideways and backwards passing? Like, he didn't go... I feel like 18...
I think his role changed, though.
Yeah,
his role changed.
19, he went back into that.
Yeah, his role changed for the period. Because I think there was a period where he played him more defensively.
Yeah.
And then he didn't score as many goals, and then we played him a bit more offensive again. But I always prefer Henderson box to box. When you play him an 8, I play Henderson an 8 than a 6.
No, I think
he's much more better than 8.
Hendo in a 6 loses everything that makes him good.
Yeah.
Steve said there, Balotelli, Markovic, Carroll, Joe Cole, Benteke, and Bogdan. So pretty much everyone we said. He's mentioned. We've all said them, Steve. We talked about them.
Gandit says Danny Ings was unlucky with injuries. Yeah, I think injuries as well. Ings was unlucky with injuries. I think he would have been a good player for us, but injuries didn't work out for him. And plus, I think he's one of those players that he needed a team like Southampton to get the best out of him. He wasn't going to get that Liverpool.
Yeah.
Drew says Minamino doesn't get much playing time. What's going on at Southampton? I think he's down at Southampton because I don't think they rate him.
No.
So I was surprised.
Remedy.
I think he hasn't got future Liverpool. I think I'll be surprised if he stays.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was bad. What about Suso? Suso wasn't given a chance under Benitez, and that's why it just didn't work out for him. But I wouldn't. Yeah, it's difficult with him. Steve says Aspas. Yeah, we spoke about Aspas. He was my number 3. So yeah, Aspas is terrible. All right, I think it's time for trivia questions.
Yay! I love trivia. That's your favorite.
So if you have any, I've got 2, unless you can think of any. So my first one is, in a zombie apocalypse, would you rather be a Lone Ranger but be guaranteed lots of food and supplies, or be in a community with other people? You're not alone, but you have lack of food.
Lone Ranger. Lone Ranger, because if I'm on my own, the reason is, if I'm on my own and I know that I've got supplies to keep me going, I just need to find somewhere. I love Steve scrolling people. But it's literally survival of the fittest. So if I know I've got food, I've got water, I've got shelter, I don't have to then be worrying about other people around me and their safety. I'm putting everyone else's needs before mine, because I feel like you get the Walking Dead type scenario, you know, when they all start making like a community and it all fucks up. Like, if I'm on my own and I've got food and water, I'll fucking cave a zombie's head in with a spade. Like, I will just be on my own quite happily, and then I don't have to worry about it. And normally, when you're with people and you've got a plan, find a volleyball, David Wilson, on film. I feel like
I'd agree.
Well, be able to do that. Like, I'd just batter the shit out of them. And I know I was working with someone else, and they did something wrong. About, what the fuck are you doing that for, dickhead? Why have you made a noise? And then we'd get eaten by zombies. Or
I'm the same. I think I'd rather be my own and have abundance of food rather than being in a community. Though you might miss the companionship of people, but
I'd be all right,
you're starving. You're starving in that community and rationing.
In a world full of zombies, I think communication and like, having people around you and socialization is not really top of your priorities. It's more, let's not get eaten by a zombie and let's have food.
Yes, totally agree. Okay, the next one. If you were a mad scientist, and the term ethical doesn't matter. So if you're a mad scientist, what scientific experiment would you run if money was no object and you don't have to worry about ethics?
Oh. I feel like you should have sent me these a couple of hours ago and let me think about it. If I was a mad scientist without ethics, no money, restraint, what experiment would I like to run?
Yeah, you could run.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like you put me on the spot here. I can't. What was it? What was
I think for me, if I wasn't had like that, I would probably dabble in like. I've always been curious about psychic kind of stuff, so I'd dabble in doing stuff like around mind control and FSG actually to do a human centipede.
Oh, youth! There's always one, isn't there?
Human centipede, that's funny. No, I'd dabble in mind control to see if it's possible to do telepathy and all that kind of stuff, and do those experiments. You put people up to electric machines and stuff. It was either that or bring people out from the dead. See, that's possible.
That'd be pretty cool. Cloning, because there's Dolly the sheep, and Dolly the sheep was successfully cloned and lived for a bit, and so it is technically possible, which is very difficult, and obviously it's not ethical. Yeah, I'd go into cloning. And then I just clone. I clone lots of Virgil van Dijks. And then I just clone a new one with like the genetic code of when he's 26. When he's at his peak, 27 at his peak, like 18, 19 Virgil. And then I just clone it. So when the other one retires, I'd clone a new one, like a conveyor belt. Yeah. But I'd put it in a clause that he was only allowed to play for Liverpool. And balance. Yeah. Cloning.
Okay. Do you have any trivias?
Yes. Would you rather be able to talk with animals or speak every language in the world?
I would go talk with animals.
Yeah.
Because imagine being able to talk to an eagle or a lion or a bear and get them to do what you want to do. Like if you could convince them to, hey, I want you to do this, You're like FSG says, talk to your cats. Imagine you can have a conversation with your cat.
Talk to Albie.
Yeah. So I'd choose talking to animals rather than humans.
Oh, I've just said his name and look. Imagine being able to talk to that. How cute would that be?
Yeah. Forget talking to other people in learn languages. Animals would be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
You can get Ace Ventura.
Yes. Okay, another one. Would you rather have super sensitive hearing or super sensitive eyesight? Like be able to like X-ray vision, like see really far, see through things, or have like supersonic hearing?
Drew, speak all language of the world because people won't believe I could talk to animals. You probably get sectioned.
I know, yeah. It's okay, I can talk to me cat. It's okay, I can talk to me cat. I can talk to me cat.
FSG says his cats are called Dex. No, Pers and Dexter.
Oh.
I'd extra vision because I could see anything. I could see exactly everything is.
Yeah, I go with X-ray vision more for the point that my eyes are fucked anyway. So it'd just be nice to have actual vision for once.
I got extra vision.
Okay, I've got one last one as well. I was thinking about this earlier. If you were a serial killer, which one would you be?
Serial killer, like in history, serial killer.
If you were if you could pick a famous serial killer to be, which one would you be?
I can't remember his name. Let me find his name. There's a guy who's. What's his name? Yeah, I watched this guy like a couple of weeks back. There's a guy called the Alphabet Killer in America, and basically he was doing like puzzles to different polices, and he's got like he's never been caught to this day.
Yeah.
And no one can decipher his little quizzes, whatever it is. So I'd be him, Alphabet Killer, because he was never caught.
I couldn't pick between two. So the first one, I was either torn between being Jack the Ripper or the Zodiac Killer.
That's it. No, so the Zodiac Killer. Sorry, that's it. Yeah, that's it. The Zodiac Killer.
So Jack the Ripper, because he was like one of the first really famous killers, like in a time where it was easier to catch them technically because you didn't have all these confounds and you didn't have all these rules and confounds and evidence and that. It should have been so simple to catch him. And still to this day, there are so many conspiracy theories about who Jack the Ripper actually was. And at some point, someone thought that it was a Polish immigrant who'd been sent to a psychiatric facility, and soon after he was sent there, the murder stopped. And I love the Jack the Ripper story, but then I kind of think the Zodiac Killer was like, he just had a bag on his head. Like, the man walked around with a bag on his head and managed to get away with murder. Like, no one knew who he was, and he just played games with everybody all the time.
Yeah, I think I've also got Sweeney Todd. I wouldn't mind being here in the barber.
Doesn't count. It doesn't count. It's a musical, it's a story. It doesn't count.
He was a serial killer, wasn't he?
Is that a real one?
Was he fake? I don't know. How to see.
Oh, don't tell. Hang on. I always thought Sweeney Todd was just.
Was he fiction? Was he real?
Fictional?
Oh, maybe it was fictional.
Or was he? I don't know.
No, he's a
character. I knew he was.
Oh, I thought he was real.
No, he's not real. He's not a character.
Oh, okay, doesn't count. Yeah, then Zodiac Killer because he got away with it.
Okay, I'll go for Jack the Ripper then. If you go Zodiac, I'll go for Jack the Ripper. I like how we've chose ones who never got caught. Like, we could have gone for like Ed Gein, we could have gone for like Jeffrey Dahmer, we could have gone for Ted Bundy because Ted Bundy was incredible. We could have gone for like John Wayne Gacy, but no, we chose the two that we would never get caught. The Green River Killer as well. The Green River Killer never got caught. He was a good one.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard about the Green River.
You need to watch it. Go and watch it on YouTube. Go and watch the Green River Killer. Like, it was.
I can have a look at that. Green River. Okay. Watch it after I finish this. Green River. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah. I think we're gonna wrap up there. So it's been fun. The chat's been off the chart. I just look at this on the chat. FSG out said Jack the Ripper because he was a time traveler.
Oh, fuck off.
Rue says serial killer. Well, this live stream just got dangerous. Well, yeah, that's where.
Steve's not here to stop us, so why not?
Yes, we're out of control.
No.
Drew says you guys should do Instagram live too. We might do that we might think about doing that down the road. FSG out says, if you guys could time travel, which match would you go back and watch? We'll finish with that one. I think for me, if I go back and watch a match, it would be a Champions League 2005 Champions League final.
I'd go back to our last league title win before this year, like 30 years ago. I'd go back to that one. I'd watch them win it in the 80s. I'd watch them win it then. Would love to have seen that. Like, I would have loved to have seen Liverpool play in the 80s. So I'd have gone back any of those matches really when we were at our height. Like, yeah, 100%.
Drew says you guys are you guys are great. Love the stream tonight. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love.
We do. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, hit that like button.
Yes, subscribe as well. I don't think we've got anything else to add. We've got another show special on Thursday.
I thought it was Wednesday.
Wednesday night. We've got another one. So we'll stay tuned for that. The morning's going to come with that later on. Then we'll have Friday's final word on the Friday as normal. We'll be doing our Manchester United preview on the Saturday. Then obviously the post-match on the Sundays. And we have we'll have a guest for the Sunday one. And we'll have a guest for the Saturday one as well. Also on the Sunday, we'll have our match reaction, our watch along, and our team match reaction as well.
Yeah.
So there's lots to come. Lots to come. We're going to bring you this week. Yeah. Otherwise, that's all for me and Sophie.
Yeah. That's all then. That's us done.
Perfect.
But if anybody has anything for Wednesday's podcast, should we give them a clue?
Go on, yeah.
Guys, okay. Anything within the last 5 years of Liverpool that's your favourite memory, send it in. Think of it and send it into the chat for Wednesday's one, because that's a hint. Yes,
that's going to be Wednesday's going to be a great show. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. So, yes. So yeah, do what Sophie says. Otherwise, smash the like button. You haven't done. Otherwise, that's going to be us for tonight. Up the Reds, and we'll see you guys all on the Wednesday.
All right, bye.
Up the Reds.